There's nothing more frustrating than finally getting the urge to study or work on whatever you need to do. You finally put down the phone, pause the movie, and get to your desk, only then to look at the time and realize the day's nearly over. Your time is gone, and you barely started that homework that you had, that revision that you needed to do, all those tasks that you needed to finish. Instead, you got distracted, you procrastinated, and you missed your chance. I knew this feeling all too well because I went through this thing for years, and the chances are, if you're watching this, you know this feeling too. Now, how I got to the point where I never had to go through this again and I achieved all my grades, targets, and goals is something I'm going to speak about in this video, and why I made it so I can help people go through the same transformation that I did. So the way I'm going to explain it is literally just going to be a quick timeline in order of what you're going to do to permanently eliminate distractions and be able to work, focus, and concentrate. And this is what you're going to do now, okay? So as soon as possible, you can get all of these steps done and see results as soon as you can. So to start off that timeline, the first thing that you're going to worry about is your environment, okay? Now, this is true for literally any sort of case, is that environment is going to be motivation. 100% of the time, 10 out of 10, this is literally completely true. No matter how motivated you are, if your environment is something that has a lot of distractions, if your environment is something that clouds your judgment, that doesn't help you concentrate and stuff, you're never going to be able to be yourself, and you're always going to end up distracted, okay? And the reason you can't focus is not because of motivation or lack of motivation or laziness. It's literally just the way that you're working, and obviously the environment that you're in. Those are the two key things, and those are the things that I found was actually what was causing me to be distracted, not my motivation, not me just not wanting to do the work. So if you always work in this messy or loud or this distraction filled environment, there is literally no way to get work done, okay? This is a complete and utter fact. Environment beats motivation. No matter how motivated you are, you got these things around you, you will end up distracted. So what can you actually do? What steps can you actually take to do this? First thing, clear the clutter. A messy space equals a messy mind, okay? When you have all of these things around you, it creates mental noise. It creates extra things to worry about that kind of make it a little bit harder to focus. So you really want to eliminate these things. So remove anything from your desk or workspace that isn't directly related to the task at hand. And this especially relates to other tasks. So if I'm doing like let's say I'm doing my history homework, for example, just a school example here. Say I'm doing my history homework and I have, you know, other piles of homework around me. That's not a good way to stay focused on what I'm doing, because I'm going to be thinking about other things now. Keep all of the things for one task in front of you. The next thing is to create separate zones. What this means, okay, is that you have one place where you work and one place where you relax. So say my desk right now, this is only where I work. When I go to my desk, this is for work only. Don't ever have your phone here. Don't ever scroll on social media here. Don't ever watch movies here or anything like that. This is only for work. And the reason why this works is because your brain is going to associate certain places with certain activities. That's how you work. This is simple biology. Mixing them is going to confuse your focus. So you have to separate them and make sure that when you sit down, your brain instantly switches on to that work mode, okay? So literally just have a dedicated place for work or study only, and keep your relaxation, entertainment, your gaming and that, keep that separate. Keep that in a different room. This right here, my desk right here, I'm filming videos here. I'm not going on my phone. My phone isn't even with me. I don't watch movies here. I don't watch YouTube. I don't do any of that. Here is where I work. On my bed, I could watch a movie there. Downstairs on the sofa, I could watch a movie there. I could go on my scroll. I could scroll. Okay, now this right here is actually a big one. Remove distraction triggers, okay? Now your willpower is obviously weak when these temptations are in sight, okay? There's a really big, a really important saying, you know, out of sight, out of mind, and this applies to this, all right? Always keep your phone in another room while studying or working. This is non-negotiable. I can't tell you how much this rule of always keeping my phone in another room while I was studying or working helped me so much, all right? It helped me never have to reach for it again, never get distracted, never go and try and look for social medias when I'm working, because it's not even in the room. I don't even think about it, okay? This is the best thing you could do. So if you really struggle with, you know, being distracted by your phone, notifications, socials, and all of that, keep it in another room while you study. Keep it in another room while you work. It is a life hack, and it is very, very good. Treat this as a non-negotiable, and I can guarantee a lot of your distractions are going to go away. Another thing you can do is optimize your environment for comfort, okay? If you're uncomfortable, your brain is going to instinctively look for excuses to get up and stop working. If you're not in a comfortable chair with a nice position with water next to you or something, your brain is going to think, oh, I don't really want to do this. This is hard. This isn't nice. Let me go. It's going to think of more and more excuses until finally you're going to procrastinate. You're going to stop working. Things like where you're sitting, you know, the lighting, the noise, you know, those are all things that you can try and, you know, remove or fix to make you more comfortable. An example of this for me was I used to use noise cancelling headphones to kind of get rid of the noise, which would be really, really nice. Sometimes I'd like to work in a library. Sometimes I like to work on my desk at home. It really depends on me, but I was comfortable in different places. And that's why you have to choose the right environment for you as well. Trying to be productive, trying to be focused isn't a one size fits all. Okay, this is personal to you. There's certain things in my environment that I had here that a lot of people wouldn't actually have. A lot of people wouldn't want to, you know, drink coffee or something. A lot of people wouldn't want to work in dark environments or stuff like that. These are separate things that people might choose differently. And that's why, you know, some people might want to work in a library or study cafe for that background energy. Some people might want to be in a closed, quiet room. Some people might want to study or work outdoors if fresh light or sunlight might even help them work better. All you have to do is kind of experiment until you find the space that you work best. Go to that library, study outside, study inside, study in a dark place, study in a light place, study in places or work in places that are, you know, necessarily different, and find one which makes you feel good, which makes you feel more productive and more focused and actually helps you get that work done. This is a small sort of thing you can do, and it is really, really, really useful. And the last thing that you're going to do is set up for easy wins. Okay, the easier it is to start, the more likely you will. You want to make it easy for you to start, you know, doing those tasks. So look at your environment and trying to make it as easy as possible for you to do that homework, for you to do that revision. For example, try and lay out the stuff you need before you start working. Try and, you know, keep your most used tools, your laptop, your notebook, your pens within arm's reach. Okay, say I've got, you know, some homework that I need to do, some, I don't know, English homework, right? I'll leave some, you know, some paper here so I can get started with that. I'll leave a pen here so I can get started with that. I'll leave some revision notes so it can help me as well. You know, leaving that stuff before makes your brain think there's less obstacles for this, and it should be an easier task to do. And obviously have water or stuff that you normally get up to get, or you normally have to do something to get nearby, and have it ready so you don't have to get up as well. Basically, just set yourself up for the tasks. Have that stuff ready. If you have it ready in your environment and you have those things handy, it makes your brain see those things as easier. Therefore, you don't need to rely on motivation. Therefore, less distraction. Okay. These are the 6 things that I literally just thought that I considered when I was looking at my environment, and why it helped me to, you know, destroy these distractions and actually help me to be a lot more productive. So the second big point to avoiding these distractions is going to be a dopamine diet. Now, if you want to focus better, you literally have to rewire your brain's dopamine system, because the chances are, if you struggle with focusing, if you struggle with distraction, your brain's dopamine is probably very, very, very fried. All right. And the reason that most people actually hate working isn't because the work is hard. It's because your brain is literally just trained the wrong way. It's thinking about things the wrong way. Every time you actually scroll TikTok, check Instagram, or get a notification from your phone or whatever device you use, you get that little mini dopamine hit. Over time, your brain is going to crave these quick hits. So real work, which actually gives those slow rewards and doesn't give those dopamine hits instantly, feels very boring. The result, you get distracted, you lose focus, and you get nothing done, as depicted by this very, very good image right here. The solution, as I said before, is going to be the dopamine diet. It's exactly what it sounds. It's literally just about controlling when and how your brain gets dopamine, so you can train it to focus, you can train it to actually work the right way. So here are the things you gotta do. Okay, work first, reward later. Only check these socials, watch videos or game or any of these dopamine filled activities after you finished your most important task of the day, or just at the end of the day. This teaches your brain that you have to work first, then get reward, instead of work and then get that pain of not finishing. Okay, before you used to, you know, work and then just get those dopamine hits midway, and then, you know, procrastinate, and you think your brain's already got that reward, so it doesn't have to work anymore. But now you're saying, do the hard work, get the reward, not get the reward and then you don't have to do any work. That's why it's so conflicting, and that's why you actually procrastinate in the first place. So have this mindset. Work first, reward after. Second thing you can do is set screen time limits. Okay, block apps during focus hours. You can use your phone's built-in screen time. Everyone literally has it on their phones, or apps like Flora or Freedom. I would highly recommend Flora. I think it's a very, very good app. And if possible, if it gets to that extreme point, you can literally set a passcode that only a friend or family member knows, so they can literally lock it off for you and only they can open it. This is a very, very, very useful thing, especially for studying. If you're a student, I would highly recommend Flora. You can use it with your friends, really motivates you. It's a really, really good app. But even just using screen time in general, adding a screen time limit of about 30 or 40 minutes a day to all of the socials that you use or any apps that necessarily distract you is going to help you so much, because it keeps you accountable. Especially if you give a passcode to someone else, you can definitely say to yourself, you basically locked it away. You're 100% not going to get distracted. Next thing I did was batch my entertainment, okay? And this is what you can do as well. Instead of checking your phone 50 times a day and getting those quick dopamine hits, which ruins your brain, like we said, just choose 1, 2, 3, 4 max specific times in the day to scroll or watch guilt-free, okay? So for example, 30 minutes after your work or study session in the evening, after you finished it, that's when you can go on your phone, all right? So you can go, you know, one time in the morning, one time in the afternoon, one time in the evening. It seems extremely like, oh, I need to check my phone all the time, but trust me, you're lying to yourself if you really think you need to check it that often. Your phone's not going to die without you, and you really don't need it that much. And if your phone is more important than your study or work, then that shows a lot about your goals. You need to know what you actually want. And the last thing, which you actually can do and what I did originally, was just remove these apps completely off your home screen. You know, I removed all my socials originally. I downloaded them back and then I had screen time on them after. But you can literally just remove them completely, which is going to be a very good short-term fix, and is what I did originally as well. So usually turn off all non-essential notifications, which some of you can do as well on all distracting apps if you don't want to remove them, and switch on DND at all times. Okay, switch on do not disturb. This is really going to help you to not get those dopamine hits when you hear those notifications. But if in doubt, just remove them completely off your screen, off your phone, and you won't have to worry about them at all. Now, literally, by controlling when you give your brain these dopamine hits, you're going to break the addiction that you get to constant stimulation, to that instant gratification. And everyday things like studying, reading, or exercising, it starts to feel rewarding again. After I started doing this, every time I went to the gym, I felt better. Every time I read a book, I felt better. Before, it felt boring. Before, it felt exhausting. Before, it felt literally impossible to even get started with these things. But after I went on this diet, after I started considering how my brain reacts to social media and stuff, and trying to get myself off my phone and stop scrolling and stuff, I actually enjoyed things a lot more, and I was able to study and work a lot better. Now, I'm going to tell you now, this is a little tip here. Okay, the first few days are going to feel literally impossible. They're going to feel uncomfortable. That's your brain craving those instant hits. If the first few days of you doing this feels bad, then you're doing it right. Okay, all you have to do is just push through, and it will get easier every day. And think about the reward at the end. Okay, when you're able to get, you know, studying and working down without, you know, these conflicting thoughts in your head, and without trying to scroll and look for your phone all the time, you're literally going to be ahead of tons of people. And this is why I was able to achieve so much in my life, just because of doing these small things. So if you're looking to eliminate distractions, take these 2 main steps and look at all of these separate things. And I promise you, you will get rid of them permanently if you stay consistent with these. That's what I did, and that's what you can do too.